Welcome to the LaunchPreneur experience. My name is Fernanda Furman, and I am your host. And today we're talking to Shelby Fowler. And Shelby's going to be addressing the biggest elephant in the room in things that everybody has been talking about Facebook ads not working anymore. So she's going to address that. We're going to go deep into this conversation on what to do and how to make Facebook ads work for you. And I'm going to let her answer that question if it works or not. So welcome, Shelby.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And can you please share with the audience a little bit about you and what you do, how you serve your clients?
Absolutely. So my name is Shelby Fowler. I own a Facebook and Instagram ads agency, and we work primarily with high ticket coaches who are live launching. And we run ads typically to fill their launches with high quality leads. And typically we'll run ads in between launches to nurture their audience as well. So I'm excited to be here. This is definitely my wheelhouse. And I know a lot of people have a huge curiosity about advertising and how it can help them explode and get more leads into their launches.
Yes. And just to tie it in, the name of her interview and her talk is how to use Facebook and Instagram ads to fill your launches. So this is definitely something that people have made a lot of money by investing in Facebook ads when they're running their launches. And then the Facebook is always changing something in the algorithm, and you never know what's going to be the next thing. So can you please answer me this burning question? Does Facebook ads still work for launches?
They absolutely do. Here's the thing. We want to make sure that your offer is priced strategically, though, because advertising costs are a little bit higher than they were 6 months ago, a year ago, right? So if you've run ads in the past, you might be like, wow, I spent X amount on a lead to get someone registered for a webinar back in the day. Well, now it's gone up a couple of dollars. So here's the thing. You want to make sure that your pricing is really above $3,000 for an offer if you're going to be live launching. If it's less than that, keep in mind that your profit margins are going to be pretty low and you won't be able to really invest enough money in advertising to get the return you're looking for. So there's ways we can kind of reverse engineer that. But all of that to say, they absolutely work, especially if you're selling high ticket. It is still the most effective way to get tons of new leads in your business if done correctly.
So I agree with done correctly.
Yep.
So let's talk about the way when people are launching, the first thing we think about is I need to have an ads budget, right?
Sure.
And you just mentioned you need to price your offer correctly in order to make sure that you get the return on your investment. When is the best time for somebody that's launching to invest in Facebook ads?
Great question. My advice is always to wait until you've had a profitable launch organically. And the reason why is because I want to know when we get on a call together, a consult about hiring me, and any good ads agency is going to ask you similar questions. We're going to ask you, what did you do in your last live launch? How many people attended? What was your conversion rate? Because we are really kind of engineering what this is going to look like if it's going to be profitable for you. So and good ad agencies aren't going to want to take you on as a client if we don't think that you're going to be profitable. So if you run a launch organically first, you're learning positioning, you're learning how to market your services, you're learning about your audience and your offer, right? So it's much easier when we're running ads to say, okay, we have kind of this base to go off of. We know that your conversion rate, let's say you converted 4% of the people that registered last time. I'm very confident then if we run ads, you're going to be successful, right? But if you've never launched before, this is a brand new offer. I cannot be very sure that you're going to be profitable with ads. So I suggest at least launching once organically and having a profitable launch.
Yes, I agree. Is that the same for Instagram, or do you feel like that for Instagram would be a different strategy?
So keep in mind that Facebook owns Instagram. So all of your ads automatically that you run to Facebook are automatically going to go to Instagram as well. So, and that's something that like, depending on your audience. So we all serve different people, right? If your audience is younger, I would say in their 30s, like you definitely want to make sure that you're advertising on Instagram as well. But automatically, your ads are going to both platforms if you're running Facebook ads inside of Business Manager.
Okay, I didn't know that at all. So that's good to know. That's one thing I
Yeah.
didn't know. So one thing also that we see a lot, it's when coaches are launching, when an entrepreneur is launching, there's, if the launch doesn't go so well or the way they plan, they always try to think like, what happened? Is that the social seller that didn't do the job well? Is that the launch manager that didn't do the job well? Is that the Facebook ads agency that didn't do the job well? What do you see that are the successful keys for somebody that's running a launch for the first time, that has, I had a six-figure launch on my first launch?
Sure. The people I find that have very successful launches off the gate, their first launch, are typically people who've been in business a while. So I've had clients who were launching a brand new offer, but I was comfortable taking them on as a client because they had launched offers in the past. Although this was a brand new offer, they'd been in business for like 10 years and they'd sold multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, or millions of dollars, even in the 10 years. But again, they knew their audience really well, and it was just a new offer. So I'm big on this. Like, don't compare yourself to everybody else too. I think that if you are brand new to business and this is a brand new offer, you definitely want to start doing things organically first. Remember that ads aren't a fix-all. They're not. They're going to be the icing on the cake. They're going to amplify what's already existing in your business. So that's why I say, I want you to wait until you are profitable to run ads, because then you can really invest and you're not wasting money. Nobody wants to waste money with ads, right? That's like the biggest pain point everybody has, is I don't want to lose money with advertising. So if you wait until you're profitable, if you're running a new offer, but you've been in business for several years and you've launched other offers in the past, I think you're in a much better spot. And at that point, you can maybe run ads, but it's going to depend, I guess, on your, consulting with an ads expert.
Yes. And also another thing too is when you see people that are launching that have six-figure launches, they usually have a team. Like you said, they have been in business for a while. This might be a new offer. They also might have already the team of collaborators that can support them and promote for them. There are so many other reasons why somebody can make a six figures on the first launch, and people that have been launching for a long time don't make to six figures.
Yep.
And if you don't know your message, right, to begin with, you're going to attract the wrong people. Like Shelby was saying, okay, you're just going to amplify what you have in your business. Are you bringing people with the wrong message? When you put a Facebook ad, you're going to bring thousands of those same people.
Yep, absolutely.
Right?
If you're already not attracting the right clients in your business with your existing marketing, advertising will not help you. It will not help you. You need to talk with somebody who's going to help you dial in your messaging, your positioning, your audience, what is going to attract them and get them to say yes. Advertising is not a quick fix. It's not a fix all for you.
Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about launches. And what about in between launches? How can we utilize and leverage Facebook ads in between launches?
There's so many different ways. A lot of people want to promote a freebie to get people to join their email list, right? Because again, if you are launching, then you're sending out emails regularly, hopefully, to your email list. and those people may join your live launches later. So it's a great way to build your list, but also that those people could join a launch later on. Typically, if you're running ads to a lead magnet, a freebie, right, they are less expensive leads. So that's a great way to run ads in between. Also, video view ads, which are essentially just a video of you maybe doing a quick training, and we could run ads to a specific type of audience, maybe a competitor and a competitor's audience. And that way we can retarget those people that watch that video when we are running launch ads. That will almost always reduce the cost of your advertising when we do run launch ads. So there's lots of different ways we can get people to listen to your podcast, blog posts, right? There's so many different strategies, but I think it's a great way if you're wanting to get super visible and you're wanting more people to see you, you're wanting more people to like, know, trust you before your launch. It's a great thing to do.
Yes. And I think you said something very important that, the launch doesn't stop when the launch ends.
Yep.
Right. So there is also the cycle. If you're going to be launching over and over again, there is the cycle. And this is one of the amazing opportunities that you, as Shelby said, to start creating your audience for a lower cost to bring them in later on as a retargeted audience, and then you're going to pay less. So even though Facebook ads has changed, I think the strategy, if you work with somebody that understands the strategy, they will be able to reduce the cost over time. And it's not something that's going to happen, right, the first time. Let's just do this launch. And my friend got, $1 per lead. And how come I'm getting a $5 per lead? And it has to do with the strategy, but also with the consistency. And I think that's why agencies like you have a time like a 3 months or 5 months or 6 months, because you need that. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely smart to run ads all the time. It's definitely smart to run ads all the time. And I will say that like your cost per lead is going to depend on your audience, right? Like the more niche you are, if you're targeting a very high level person. I have a client, for instance, right now, and in between launches, we run ads to grow their Facebook group because that's where they live launch from. But their target audience are people that work for Fortune 500 companies, and they're, managers and executive level people. Obviously, we're going to be paying a little bit more per lead, right? So if you are B2C, you're going to pay most likely less than if you are B2B. And so just go into it knowing that. I wanted to touch on this really quick. I've had a lot of clients that we run ads to a launch. Okay. And we get a bunch of registrations, and then we'll track those leads to see kind of like where they're at. And they'll rejoin like 3-4 launches after that. So they'll just keep attending my clients' live launches, and then they'll buy like sometimes 5-6 launches down the line. So keep in mind that people that you bring in, even if they aren't closing that first launch, you still need to be nurturing them. Don't leave the money on the table. I cannot tell you how many times someone has come in from ads and then 6, 7, 8 months later even joined their high ticket program.
So true what you said. When I am doing the launches on the back end, I have a software that I use that I tag everybody that comes to each group. So let's say I'm running 10 launches, and I tag everybody. And even if it's the same person, the same coach, let's say they're having a launch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I put like launch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was a person that she was already on the third time watching the same launch from the same coach. Mm-hmm. And then she was also in another group with another coach that was the same topic. So she was watching this other coach while she was also in this other group here. So I realized that person is looking for a solution, and she's trying to really dive, okay, who is the best for me? She didn't join any of those two people when I realized who she was. So she didn't join any of them. Then later on, I was in another launch with another coach. Here comes this lady. And I finally had to ask her, like, what are you looking for that you're not finding anywhere? And when she said, it's basically all of them are offering, but they are not being able to really communicate to her needs. So she is a lead, and she was coming from Facebook ads from the three coaches. Yeah. So she's a hot lead. She's there to get something, but she was not being seen, and her needs were not being fulfilled, but she was a hot lead for all of them. So as to your point, somebody might be shopping around when they come the first time around, they might come the second time around, and they might buy the third. So, she was a Facebook ads leads from all of those three coaches.
Yeah, it's about a lot of it's timing, right? People come in and they're, I have a coach right now. And I've done this myself where I'm in a coaching program, or I have a coach and I know that I'm ending my time with them at a certain date. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to work on XYZ, right? And so maybe people are shopping for a similar service that you provide months in advance. So I think it's just important to know. I see a lot of people as well, and I have clients that it's kind of a rinse and repeat thing. We run ads and then they ghost their audience. They don't like organic marketing. Now, I'll tell you that when they do this, they have phenomenal launches. They know how to sell. They're crushing it on their launches, but they're also leaving a lot of money on the table because they're not nurturing the leads that they have. And they could be probably tripling the sales that they have in their business if they were to nurture those leads and invite them to each launch and be posting consistently. So I'm one of those ads people that is very big on like having your organic marketing system in place before you run ads, because I truly want you to be as successful as humanly possible. And so I think that's a big part of it. Like, make sure that when you are getting ad leads in, that you are nurturing, and do not get frustrated. I know that it's so easy to do, but it's easy to get disappointed if, you have a lower conversion rate off of your cold leads, off of people coming from Facebook ads that don't know who you are. But listen, these are people who are interested in the service that you provide. So if you continue to nurture them, you will convert some of them later on. They may just need more time with you.
So yes, I totally agree. And in terms of launches, let's say somebody has a launch, they're planning a launch in the next month, and they wanted to run ads. What do you suggest them to do? Is like running ads to a free lead magnet right now, or running ads into a form to book a call, or, to the registration directly? What would you suggest that would be the best thing for them to do, taking in consideration they have 1 month ahead of time?
Yep. So if you are running ads a month before your launch, I want you to run ads directly to get directly getting registrations to your launch, instead of focusing on a lead magnet or anything like that, because right now it is taking Facebook a little bit longer to optimize ads. What that means is that it's taking Facebook a little bit of time to like figure out if your ads are working or not. It's taking them a little bit more time to gather enough data. And so because of that, we are recommending that people are running ads for about 4 weeks in advance anyways. Like really up to 6 weeks in some cases. If you have a really big launch and you want to spend like $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 in ads, you need to be running ads like 6 weeks in advance. I know that might sound crazy, but you should also have a process for really nurturing those people during that time. But I will tell you, when you have your launch dates in place and you start your ads, what is working right now really well are lead gen campaigns. So when you go to create a Facebook ad, it gives you a bajillion options, right? I'm sure a lot of you maybe have poked around back inside of Ads Manager before, and you go click on create an ad and it tells you like, what kind of ad do you want to create? What kind of campaign do you want? It gives you all these options, right? If you choose lead gen, those ads are working really well right now for live launches. And I'll tell you kind of that process. So essentially, when you create a lead gen campaign, and let's say your ideal client is scrolling on Facebook and they see your ad, okay, and they're like, wow, that sounds awesome. This workshop sounds great. And they click on your ad, it pulls it up a form right inside of Facebook. So they never have to leave the platform. So typically that means that your ad costs are actually lower. And we've tested this with many different industries across the board. They're typically much cheaper than running ads to a landing page. So when they click on the ad, they fill out that form directly in Facebook. And then what we do on the back end is my team and I will set up a Zapier from the Facebook lead form to your email provider or wherever you have, like your website, so that it looks, it's as if that they filled it out on your website, essentially. Those ads are working really well. So I would try those before, like, out of anything, that's what's working. As far as also story ads are working really well. So people are consuming Instagram stories and Facebook stories much more than ever. And if you can go look online at the stats of, Instagram and Facebook story consumers, but those ads are performing really well. So you can kind of test that as well, but you really want to run ads 4 weeks in advance. The first week you want to test different graphics. You're going to want to test like story ads versus ads that are just on someone's news feed. You want to do a little bit of testing, and you want to also test audiences, like which audiences are going to perform best for your workshop, your challenge, your masterclass. And that way, week 2, 3, you can start to dwindle down like what is working and what's not, and focus your ad budget behind the things that are working best, instead of, just kind of, it's not advertising isn't a guessing game. There's a lot of strategy that goes behind it. And a good ads manager is going to be looking at your ad account, looking at the numbers and seeing what's working, what's not, so that you don't waste money.
Yes, I just love this because I do a lot of hacking, right, to see what other people are doing. And I have noticed like a lot of the people that were repeating their workshops, they're now using the lead gen, which I didn't know was a lead gen. I just noticed that when you click to know more, it opens a form right there. And I think that's what Facebook wants, right? They don't want you to get out of the platform. That's why he's letting you know that this is going to be cheaper for you, right?
Yep.
So it's all part of their marketing strategy.
And yeah, with the iOS update that came out this year, I'm sure everyone heard, like, it was catastrophic for a lot of advertisers. It just changed the game, and it made it definitely a more advanced skill. So if you know how to run ads and you're good at it, all more power to you now. So what happens is, because Apple made it so that Facebook can essentially not track people that click on your ads, if you're taking people to an outside landing page or a website, when they click on your ad, they go to your landing page or your website, Facebook cannot track that as effectively as they used to. And now it's taking them several days to really get any data. So, it's a lot more effective if you keep them on the platform. Then Facebook can track appropriately. And if your ads are starting to do well, Facebook knows they're doing well. So then they put it out to more people. If you're taking them off the platform, and we've seen this before, especially earlier this year when the iOS stuff first came out, what was happening is you might have a bunch of registrations coming from ads, but Facebook didn't know it. So what would happen is Facebook would like kind of penalize you a little bit in ads manager, and your ad costs would start going up and up and up, because Facebook's like, hey, it looks like your ads aren't even working. People don't even like this stuff. So we're just going to stop putting it out there. And little did they know, right? Like, your ads were killing it in the back end. So if you can keep them on the platform, you should.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shelby. That was Yeah, that was amazing information right there. If you're planning on launching and if you want to really have a successful strategy for to use your ads, to use ads to grow your group and to fill your launches, you definitely need to think about where you are right now in your business, what your goal is. If your launch is just, to bring awareness, it's just to grow your group, it's just, of course, we all want to sell, but also keep in mind that at what point you need to start planning for Facebook ads, because that is still the best way to fill your launches in terms of advertising, right? So if you're planning having that budget and you don't want to do it organically, you start organically, but then you say, I wanted to amplify this, then, planning on using Facebook ads, it's not for everybody. It's not like just, let me just go in the back end and, I'm just going to put some pictures
No.
in there, some videos, and see which one runs the best. And then so you have to have a strategy behind. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Shelby. I appreciate it.
You're so very welcome.
And Shelby, when you registered, she gave access as a free registration gift to her podcast. So it's a new podcast. Is that right?
It's a private podcast. So in order to get access, you have to register. But it is a freebie for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Shelby. And your action step is to post in the group, how many sales do you want from your next launch ads? And Shelby's going to be in the group and she's going to be able to support you. Is there anything else you want from them?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and post what your launch goal is or how many registrations you want from ads, if you post that and tag me in the group, I will go in and I'll give you an estimated ad spend. I know that's like everybody's big question is like, well, how much should I spend on ads? So if you go ahead and post that and make sure that you tag me, I will tell you in the group directly how much like an estimated ad spend.
Thank you so much, Shelby. I so appreciate all your knowledge and you spending time here with us today. And thank you for the audience for watching us.
Thank you for having me.